and we will see how to inject values collected from property file to Spring Bean. See, in annotation, so far I have not shown how to inject simple values to Spring Bean properties. In XML, I have introduced value attribute to inject values to simple properties, right? Yeah, here we have an annotation called @value. What is there? Using this annotation, we can inject values to simple properties directly as a hard-coded values, or by collecting from properties file, a text file. A text file which maintains the entries as key value pairs is called as a properties file. You might have studied little bit in core Java and advanced Java classes. It's the same property file. We can also inject values by collecting them from system properties. What properties? OS.name, OS.version, this kind of system properties, right? We can also inject values to Spring Bean properties by collecting them from environment variables. What variables? Environment variables. What variables, guys? Simply, literally, we can also collect the values from what? Environment variables. Comfortable, my dear? Come on. Okay. Sorry is having 7:30 p.m. batch. Yes. Okay. Yeah. 9:15 I'll start today. You please excuse me. Stop discussing that. Happy Republic Day. Be happy. Okay. Right. Let's come back to the main discussion, guys. So now let me open the document first. File, open, Spring. What's your batch code? 916. Here is what? 916. Here is what? Spring Core. Tell me, what's the next one? Session? Second one. Okay. Oh, 1 minute, guys. We cannot get into properties file. Before that, we have to discuss about Spring Bean scopes. Scopes is a different discussion now, guys. Okay. Let it be 1 minute. I think some size issue is there in that. E drive. Where is this? Class content. Spring. Then we got 61916 Spring Core. Open with what? Photos. Some size issue is there. This is the extra space. Okay, fine, no problem. I think still some gap is there, guys. Still some gap is there. No. Okay, fine. Let it be. Save this. Open with the paint. Yeah. We got it. And today's topic is what? Spring Bean scores. Yeah, we can make IOC container keeping Spring Bean class object in a scope. Okay, scope means visibility na, my dear. We can also keep variables in different scopes in Java application. Local scope, method scope, instance variable scope, class scope. Come on. Method scope, nothing but local scope, instance variable scope. Next one, what? Class scope, thread scope, specific to each thread. We have some scopes, guys. In advanced Java servlet programming, also some scopes are there. Request scope specific to each request. Come on. Session scope specific to each browsing session. Next one, application scope specific to entire web application. Remembered all this stuff? We have a different scopes to work with or not there. Similarly, we can also make IOC container keeping Spring Bean class objects in what? Different scopes. Shall we understand those scopes, guys? We can make the IOC container to keep what? Spring Bean class object in what? Different scope. The Spring Bean scopes in 5.x, 6.x versions are singleton, prototype, request, session, application, and what? WebSocket. Last four are specific to what? Web application development. They are not common for what? Entire. They are very much specific to what? Web application development. Request, session, application, and what? WebSocket. Okay, even in 7.x also same scopes, guys. Don't worry. 6.x and what? 7.x. Yeah. Can be used in standalone applications, also in what? Web application. These scopes can be used in what? Standalone applications and also in what? Web application. These first two things, singleton and prototype. Check it out. Here I have written standalone applications. We can keep data in following scope. What scope? Blob scope, method, instance, class, thread. In web applications of Java, we can keep data in what? Following scope. Request scope, session scope, page scope, and what? Application scope. Is that clear, my dear? Come on. Super. Tell me. To specify Spring Bean scopes, we use what? Scope attribute of bean tag in XML driven what? Configuration. Scope attribute of bean tag in what? XML. To specify Spring Bean scope, we use what? At the rate scope annotation. Where, guys? In annotation driven configuration, at the rate scope annotation. Scope is class level, method level annotation. It can be applied on the top of the class, on the top of the method. We generally use scope annotation along with what? Component annotation and what? At the rate bean annotation. If Spring Bean is created by using at the rate bean method, we have to mention scope by using at the rate scope on the top of the method. If Spring Bean is created by using at the rate component annotation, we have to specify the scope by using what? At the rate component. Yes. Okay. Now listen. Singleton class is there. Come on. We have a singleton class, singleton scope. Okay, first 5 minutes we'll discuss about singleton Java class. No chair? Okay. First few minutes we'll discuss about what? Singleton Java class. Are you getting my point, my dear? Okay. Then we will see difference between singleton scope and singleton class. The Java class for which we can create only one object in any situation is called as what? The Java class for which we can create only one object. In any situation, it allows us to create only one object. Singleton class, it's a design pattern. Singleton scope is what? Spring Bean scope. That makes IOC container to create only one object. Container level restriction is scope. Class level restriction is what? Java class. That is nothing but singleton Java class, which is a design pattern. First, let us think about, okay, what is need of singleton Java class? We worry about design pattern first. Later, we'll connect to what? Scope, guys. Now, listen. Instead of creating multiple objects for Java class, when class is not having any state, nothing but properties, or only final properties, right? Final properties data is fixed or not there. Final properties data is fixed or not there, guys. Then that class is called as what? Singleton Java class. What class, guys? Instead of creating multiple objects, when class is not having properties, when class is having only final properties, you create one object and use it for multiple time. This is going to save the time or not there? It is definitely going to save the time or not there? It is not going to waste the memory also. It is not going to waste the CPU time also. So ultimate conclusion is what? The Java class that allows us to create only one object in any given situation is called as what? Singleton class. Instead of creating many objects for one class with the same data with no data, create one object and use it for what? Multiple time. It is very useful to save the memory and to save the CPU time. Okay. But how to create our own singleton class, sir? Are there any ready-made singleton classes or not? Yes, we have ready-made singleton Java classes in Java packages, guys. Java.lang.runtime is a predefined singleton class. In what way it is predefined singleton class? Very simple. In what way it is what? Predefined singleton class. Runtime time is equal to runtime dot get runtime. It will give me runtime object representing entire runtime of the application execution. For one Java application, how many runtimes will be there? You call that method 20 times. Okay, all 20 times, same object is coming or not there. So that means runtime class is given as what? Singleton class, because one Java application will have only one runtime. Creating 20 objects for representing same runtime is meaningless or not there. Java.awt.desktop is what? Another singleton class. One computer will have how many desktop, guys? Only you ask desktop object 100 times, same desktop they represent or not. So that's why desktop class is also given as what? Singleton. It looks like you are getting many objects, but they are actually reference variable pointing to the same object. Whatever you try to do, it will allow you to create only one object. When you try to attempt second, third, fourth, fifth objects, come on. What happened? They will give access to the existing object, already available existing object. Clear, my dear? Come on. Super. Scope is what? Okay, let us try to understand what is singleton class. The Java class that allows us to create only one object in any situation is called as what? Singleton class, right? Instead of creating multiple objects for Java class, either with what? No data or with fixed data or with shareable data, where memory and CPU time will be wasted, it is recommended to create what? Single object and use it for what? Multiple times to use the memory and CPU time effectively. To use the memory and CPU time what? Effectively. Is that clear, my dear? Super. The class that allows us to create only one object in any situation is called what? In any situation is called what? Singleton class. Are you getting my point there, guys? Nah. Though Java class allows us to create what? Multiple objects. If you are happy with what? Creating single object for that class, then that Java class is called as what? Singleton Java class. What class, guys? Definitely. Then that Java class is called as what? Singleton Java class. Yeah, sorry. Statement is different, right? Class is allowing multiple object, but you created only one object, then it is called not a single. If you try to create multiple objects also, you should allow me only one object. Then only it is called as what? Singleton. Are you getting my point there or not there? Suppose normal class is taken. Normal, any objects you can, any number of objects you can create, but you create only one object. Do you think it becomes singleton? You are happy with one object, but actually class is allowing any number of objects. You take our servlet class, guys. Servlet container create object for our servlet class, right? Servlet container is happy with one object. It does not mean your class has become what? Singleton. Though servlet container wants to create 20, 30, 40 object, if the class is restricting the container to create only one object, then it is called what? Single. I'll tell something like this. Your relative is working in government organization and not taking bribe because no one is giving bribe. Do you think he is a sincere employee? Yes or no, na guys? You are single because no one is what? Approaching you or no one is connecting you. You do it, that does mean you are a sincere young boy. Yes or no, na? So you are there in police, your relative is there in police department or revenue department where bribes will come, but he is not taking bribe. Then he is called as sincere officer. Since he is not taking bribe because no one is giving bribe, how does he will become what? Sincere employee. Same thing. Though someone is trying to create multiple objects, okay, you should not allow me to create what? More than one object. That is called singleton. Since I created only one object, though class allows many objects, it is not what? Singleton. There must be a restriction from class side. No question of creating what? Other than first object. Then it is called as what? Singleton. For servlet component class, servlet container creates single object. Though servlet component class allows to have what? Multiple objects. So we cannot say servlet component class is what? Singleton Java class. Though programmer wants to create multiple objects, the singleton Java class allows us to create only one object in any situation. Runtime, desktop, logger, log4j related logger. All these are predefined singleton class or not there? Super. Okay. To develop user-defined Java class as singleton class with minimum standards, okay, we have to follow some rules, guys. Okay, what is that? Very simple, guys. First, to close all the doors that are there to create object and open only one door. In that one door, check whether object is already created or not. In that one door, check whether object is already created or not. That much simple it is. Check whether object is what? Already created or not. Are you getting my point, my dear? Check whether object is already created or not. That makes class as singleton class or not there. Okay, generally big door of creating object outside the class is new operator based constructor. Whenever I use new operator, constructor is used or not there. If I can make that constructor or all the constructor or specific few constructor as private, my problem is solved by 50% or not there. Come on, guys. If constructors are there as private constructor, anyone can attempt to create object by using new operator. 50% problem. What is another 50%? We have to open one door. Yes. Factory methods are generally capable of creating objects. Na? If I take static factory method, okay, outsider can call and inside I can create an object. So develop the static factory method, public static factory method having singleton logic. What logic, guys? How to check? Check whether object is already created or not. If not created, create and return. If already created, return existing object reference. That means always it is going to return what? One object reference. That may be new one or what? Existing one. No question of giving second object. But the question is, when writing that singleton logic, how to check whether object is already created or not? Very simple. When that first object is created, if we can store that object reference in a reference variable, by checking whether that is null or not, we can come to one conclusion whether object is already created or not. If that reference variable is null, object not created, create and return. If that reference variable is null, object is already there, take it and use it. Come on. Simple or not there, guys? So to develop singleton class with minimum standards, there are three things you have to remember as a thumb rule. Number one, okay, keep only private constructors inside the class so that, okay, no outsider can create object using new operator. Okay, big door is there to create object outside the class, you close it. Number two, place public static factory method having logic to create object by checking whether it is singleton or not. Having a singleton logic to create object. Number three, place private static reference variable to hold that single object reference so that based on this reference variable we can check whether object is already created or not. Based on that reference variable we can check whether object is what already created or not. Are you getting my point, my dear? These are the three things. Sir, I have a question. Why are you taking factory method as a static method? By calling method only, they want to get new object, new first object or existing object reference. It should be public, na? Why static? People don't want to create object for singleton by using new operator, by calling this method. So without object, if someone wants to call the method, it should be static or not there. But why are you taking that reference variable as a static, sir? Very simple. Inside the static method, do you think non-static reference variables are visible? That too without object? No. So what? How to make them visible? By taking static. That's the reason we have to take that reference variable also static. Sir, why are you taking that reference variable as private? No outsider should access directly. They want to see them accessing only through what? Method. That's why we generally take any property as private, methods as public. Here also same rule is applicable. So what are the three thumb rules, guys? Rule number one, make constructors as private so that no outsider can create object for a class using new operator. Point number one. Okay, number two, take private static reference variable to hold that single object reference. Okay, number three, place public static factory method having singleton logic. Inside that method, check above reference variable is null or not. If null, create and return object. If not null, okay, already existing object reference is there in that reference variable, return that reference. These are three minimum standards. These are not maximum standards. Still, there are some breakages for this class to create more objects. They are like it's not a perfect singleton class with a minimum standard. Okay, how to develop perfect singleton class we will discuss later, or I'll share the videos. Okay, where 8 to 9 sessions are conducted only on singleton pattern, how to develop the perfect singleton class as part of a course called design pattern. Design pattern is a separate course I conduct, guys. Okay, there I have talked about how to develop perfect singleton by spending what 9 to 10 sessions, right? Okay, I'll share those videos and you can go through it. Definitely there will be 1 2 questions on singleton pattern in any interview. There will not be any interview where MVC flow and singleton design pattern questions will be ignored. If someone completed interview without asking these 2 questions means you don't know how to take the interview. I'm that much sure about it, right? Okay. So that's why not only today's discussion, try to watch those videos also so that you will get maximum knowledge on what singleton class. Today we are developing singleton class with minimum standards only. Our course does not permit to spend 5 6 sessions only on what singleton. Okay, but don't want to see you people missing that knowledge. That's why I'm planning to give what videos. Please remind me at the end of the session. I'll share those videos with you. Spring bean scopes and what singleton class. This is not ours, sir. Check it out. Close all the doors of creating Java class object being from outside of the class and open only one door, static factory method door, to create object by checking whether object is already created or not. That is nothing but singleton last. Keep private constructor to stop utilization of new operator outside the class. Take private static reference variable of current class type to hold that single object what? A reference. Public static factory method having singleton logic to check whether object is already created or not, and to return that single object reference or not there. Okay, let me take a scenario. There is a software company with 40 50 employees. There is a policy. Everyone should use same printer. Everyone should use same printer. Printer not there, they need to purchase and use. If printer is already available, they should use it. No question of purchasing second printer. So if I think in software terms, this printer is a class that should be taken as singleton class or not there. Printer not there in company, purchase and use. Printer already there, use it. First person wants to use printer, found no printer in the company, purchase and use. Second person wants to use printer. Before purchasing, you should check whether printer is already available or not. Since available, you should use it. So if I think printer as a Java class, it's better to design printer as what? Singleton class or not there. While designing printer as singleton class, I have to follow all these standards or not there, guys. In any situation, it makes us to think about creating only one object. It is against of what? Wasting memory for second, third object. And there is a reason also. Class is having no data, no properties. You create 1,000 objects also, all are empty objects. Waste of memory are not there. Instead of that, create one empty object, use it for 1,000 times. Next, class is having only final variables. Final variables data is fixed now, boss. You created 10 objects for that class. All 10 objects will have same data, fixed data. Waste na, boss. You create one object and use it for what? 10 times. Class is having shareable data. My class is maintaining countries information. What countries? All the countries that are there in this world. How many? 192 or 252? 206 countries are there, right? Okay, don't worry. It will become 2000, 208 or 2009 by this end of 2026. Because some serious fights are going on to have new countries, right? One is Balochistan. Balochistan, yeah, in I think some more countries will form in this decade, at least if not this year. In this decade, two or three countries will be formed. Okay, right. I think neighbor to Somalia, one more is there. Somalia state or something is there. Somalia land, yeah, that country is also fighting for what? Separate identity. As of now, only Israel has recognized that country. Uh, Somalia is a corrupted and bad country, but Somalia state is a good country, no doubt. Right? That's why they don't want to be identified with what? These bad fellows, right? Okay. And Somalia is full of pirates, boss. You know, pirates means? Okay. Is a big threat to world transportation and world logistics. Because world logistics happens through sea portals and sea routes, right? And Somalia are very, very big threat to what? These logistics. Right? Pirates of Caribbean. Huh? Right. Let it be, boss. Let it be. No, we think that's a bad thing. They think that's their professional job. That's a problem. In that country, everyone thinks that's their profession. And their family member sent out, today you earn something like this only. It's a target, daily target for them, right? Okay. How we went for, how our country people went for fishing, they went for what? Pirating, right? Okay, let it be. Yeah. So now let's start the development of singleton class. Yeah, I'll link this knowledge with the singleton scope, guys. Like you and your screen both got struck. I don't think, guys. I don't think so. Yeah. 916, guys. Okay. Let's yeah, now onwards only me when, guys. Say next. Where is this? Me when I fun. What is there? Archetype hyphen. Quick start. IOC pros. What is there? 09. Okay. IOC pros 09. Singleton. Java class. Okay. Singleton Java class. What's the default package? com.nt.main. com.nt.main. See, when you create the project, by default, it is putting to Java 17. But stable version in the market is Java 21. So can we change this one to Java 21, guys? It's downloading few things. Yeah, that's good. That is 21, guys. If you take 21, it won't reflect. If you take 21, it won't reflect. We have to use, tell me, project is different, huh? Where is the project then? Not created because I cancelled that one. Nah? Fine. Bad luck. Bad luck. Okay. Fine. What? Mini project. Say next. Me when hyphen archetype hyphen quick start. Say next. IOC pros 09. Tell me. Singleton class. What is there? Core Java. com.nt.main. Say what? Finish. Say yes. Yes. Okay. It is showing what? 2017th as a Java project. Let me make this one as what? 20. Let me make this one as what? 21. Okay, that's good. Hmm. Oh, yeah, but is it reflecting here? No. Let's change this one to build path, configure build path, apply and close. Oh, no, sorry then. Okay. We have to use update project, me when update. Now change it to 21 or not there. If you after changing Java version, it should reflect means you have to go for me when update. What is that option we have? Or right click. Where is this? It's there in the document. It's there in the document that I have given. Update project. Fine. Here I will go for package com dot nt dot ston. Ston means what? Singleton. Right. New. What is there? New class. Yeah. What's the class we have to use, guys? Come on. Printer. What is there? Print. The class that I have to use is what? Printer. Yeah. What is there, guys? Printer dot Java. What dot Java, guys? Printer dot. Private static. What is there? Printer instance. Private static printer instance. Public class printer, private static printer instance. You can take any name, but I'm trying to take meaningful name because generally for factory methods, I prefer taking what name? Get instance. Get instance. Okay, if this variable name is instance, taking get instance looks easy or not there. Okay, tell me static reference variable. Static reference variable to hold that single object reference. Are you getting my point there, guys? Hmm. Yeah, tell me. Zero param constructor. Private printer. What's there? Private printer. Sys trace. In this place, what is there? Zero param constructor. Uh, Printer. Zero param constructor. Is that clear, my dear? Come on. Super. Tell me. Static factory method. What is the method we got? Public static factory method. It's what? Public. Then what is there? Printer. What is there? Static. What is there? Get instance. Public printer static get instance. Public printer. I think reverse na first. First static, then printer. Okay. Public static factory method having what logic? Singleton logic. Simply literally having which logic, guys? Singleton logic. Okay, tell me. If instance double equal to null, instance double equal to null, instance is equal to new printer of, instance is equal to new printer of. I created object for printer class or not? Okay, next. Otherwise, okay, once object is created, you have to think about returning instance or not. You definitely need to think about returning instance or not there, guys. That's good. That's great. Perfect. Yeah, this is by what, guys? Printer.java. Okay. Yes, 10 printer.java. Next, what is there, guys? You have to check whether it is working or not, right? By default, application.java will come. Leave it. Here. New. What is this? Class. Singleton. What is there? Singleton test. Here is what? Main method. Here is what? Main method. Tell me here, where is this? Get. mm, Get a single instance. Okay. Get object, I say. Tell me. Printer prn1 is equal to printer dot get instance. Next. Printer prn2 is equal to printer dot get instance. Printer prn1 is equal to printer dot get instance. Printer prn2 is equal to printer dot get instance. Okay, I'm asking two objects, but do you think it will give two objects? No. It will give one object, but pointing to one object, how many references will be created? And one object can have any number of references, guys. Object is like your body, your structure, right? Reference variables are nothing but your names. You'll be having multiple names or not there. One official name, one family member's nickname, friend's nickname, nearer and dearer nickname, baby babu, sona sono, aisa no na guys. And there will be some nickname you also don't know, but you will respond for it. Aisa no na. Because within the friend circle, they'll give some nickname and they don't tell to you, right? And you also comment on that name, but at the end, they are commenting yourself only, right? There will be such situations also, na boss. Fine. Printer PRN1 and what? PRN2. System dot out dot println. Tell me. PRN1 dot get, no, PRN1 dot hash code. Because if both references are pointing to same object, they will maintain same hash code or not there. Yeah, next one plus PRN1 dot PRN2 dot hash code. PRN2 dot what? Hash code. Yeah, 2 is not kept up, 1 only kept up. Fine. Let's go 2. Sys out. Tell me. PRN1 double equal to PRN2 question mark. Tell me. PRN1 double equal to PRN2. I just want to check whether both are pointing to same reference. Equals will compare the data of the two objects. Double equal to will check whether both references are pointing to same object or not. One is data comparison, other one is what? References compare. Convinced, my dear? Super. Singleton test.java, right? Yes. Here is my singleton test run as Java application. 222. Same hash code is coming or not? PRN1 double equal to PRN2. Here also true is coming or not there? There also true is coming or not there, guys? Okay, guys. Super. Convinced with me, boss. But is it a perfect singleton? No. Why? We can still create object for this class through cloning process. If you have to stop that. Okay. You can still create object for this class through deserialization. After serialization, we do deserialization, na? Getting object data from file, creating object. You have to stop that. If you call that get instance method in multi-threaded environment, if two, three threads are simultaneously executing the code, there is a chance of getting second object. You have to stop that through synchronization, whatever it is. Like this small, major door is closed, but small other doors are still open. And if you can close those doors also, then only it will become what? Perfect singleton. So how to do that? I'll give videos. You please go through it. Pure core Java, nothing else is there. But 90% problem is solved. Main door is new operator, and no one can create object for this class using new operator. And everyone thinks about using only factory method, that is having anyhow singleton logic. Yes, na boss. That is anyhow having what? Singleton logic. So their persistence takes place or not there, guys. Super. Okay. Here all logics are kept. One object can be pointed by multiple reference variables. Generally, we take static or final static variables in what? Uppercase letter for what? Differentiation. Double equal to operator is given for what? References comparison, like to check whether two reference variables are pointing to what? Two reference variables are pointing to what? Same object or not, right? Equals method is given for what? Content comparison, like to check whether two objects of Java class are having what? Same content or not. Whenever class is loaded, static reference variables also will be loaded and will be initialized with the default values or initial values are not there. Super. Okay, tell me guys. To develop more perfect singleton Java class, we need to consider adding what? For additional options on the above singleton class. Number one, protection from multi-threaded environment. Protection from deserialization. What is that? Yeah, protection from deserialization, protection from cloning, protection from reflection API, protection from, come on. Okay, guys. Protection from what? Custom class loader. What loader? For all these things, please watch first to 10 videos of what? Design pattern course in YouTube channel and collect links from what? Google Drive. I'll give those Google Drive, don't worry. Shall we come back to the subject back? Basic subject, guys. Yeah, what is the basic subject? In Spring 5.x, 6.x, nowadays it is what? 7.x. We have 6 scopes of Spring Beans are not there. Can you read out what are those? Singleton, prototype, request, session, application, and web SOAP. If no scope is specified, what's the default scope? Most regularly used scope. Every time, maximum 90% we use what? Singleton. Okay. To specify scope, we use at the rate scope annotation in annotation driven configuration along with what? Component or at the rate bean annotations. That's good. At the rate scope singleton. If it is a scope attribute, here scope annotation. It is a default scope for Spring Bean if no scope is specified. In this scope, the IOC container creates what? Single object for Spring Bean class with respect to bean ID and bean ID and bean class, and keeps that object in internal cache of IOC container to reuse the object across the multiple calls given to whom? ctx.getBean method having the same ID and across the multiple injection. Having the same ID or across the multiple injections. Are you getting my point? Or for injection, sometimes it has to create the new object if object is not there. How many injections you do? Singleton means only one object is created, that is injected. You call ctx.getBean method 100 times having same bean ID. One object is created and that object is reused or not there. Only one object is created and that object is reused or not there, guys. Say something, my dear. I want reply, guys. Super. This is what we need to focus, guys. Close all editors, guys. I'll go to this previous project, right? Okay. I'll go to this class S-beans. There is a cricketer, something is there. Fine. Here I will write. If you don't write also, default is that only, my dear. Scope. Tell me here. Where is that? Singleton. Scope singleton. Go to client class, client application boss. Go to client application. Here. Cricketer 1, cricketer 2. System.out.println. CKTR1 dot CKTR1 dot hash code dot CKTR2 dot hash code 1 dot hash code 2 dot hash code. One is 1 dot hash code 2 dot. Right click, run as Java application. 552. What's happening there, guys? 552. Is that clear, my dear? Come on, everyone. CKTR1 dot hash code, CKTR2 dot hash code. Is that clear, my dear? Come on, everyone. Run as what? Java application. Okay. We are getting the same hash code or not there. We can also check whether both references are pointing to same object or not. Sys out. Okay. CKTR1, CKTR2, CKTR1, CKTR2 double equal to CKTR2. Run as a Java application. It's happening or not there? Okay. Suppose I have not mentioned any scope here. Default scope is what? Single. Same effect will come or not there? Then also same effect will come. This is in what? Annotation driven configuration. Okay. Okay. Now you take at the rate bean method, same thing. Everywhere same story. Okay. Now you go to XML driven configuration, guys. Okay. There XML file is here now, boss. This is my application context.xml. Okay. There I will try to take what, my dear? Scope is equal to, what is equal to? Scope is equal to singleton. Scope is equal to singleton. That's good. Here is what? Main. Dependency injection test. Dependency injection test. No, this is not the class. We have to see that project related XML file. Let me open that project related XML file, guys. Yes. Dependency injection test. Okay, fine. Here I will take one more object, guys. Obj1 is equal to. Obj1 is equal to this. Yeah, tell me. System dot out dot println obj dot hash code plus obj one dot hash code. See, problem from ID. Though we followed correct syntax, it is not coming. Obj dot hash code and what? Obj one dot hash code. Everyone getting my point there or not there? Yes. Dependency injection test run as what? Java application. Run as 471471. Same hash code is printed or not there? 471471. Same hash code is printed. That means both are pointing to the same or not there, guys. Okay. Now listen. Is a singleton scope makes Java class as or Spring Bean class as singleton Java class or not? No. Then how does single object is coming, sir? Array, that is container level restriction to create only one object. Singleton scope does not make Spring Bean as what? Singleton class. But it is container level restriction to create only one object for that what? Spring Bean class. It is container level restriction to create only one object for what? Spring Bean class. Convinced, my dear? Come on. It is container level restriction to create only one object for what? Spring Bean class. I hope you got it, guys. Super. Yeah, check it out here. Wish message generator, singleton. Okay. How many times I'm calling get bin? 3 times. Okay. All the 3 times I'm comparing and printing the hash code. Same thing will come or not there. In annotation also same thing now, my dear. Okay. Now listen. Why that object is reused? Very simple. The object is kept in internal cache of IOC container. That's why object is kept. Only singleton scope Spring Bean objects will be kept in what? Internal cache of IOC container. That means remaining scope objects will not be kept in what? Internal cache of the IOC container. Are you getting my point, my dear? Only singleton scope Spring Beans participates in what? Pre or eager or early instantiation, and they also will be kept in what? Internal cache of the IOC container. The remaining scope beans will not be kept in what? Internal cache of the IOC container. Are you getting my point there? The remaining scope beans will not be kept in what? Internal cache of the IOC container. Are you getting my point there, guys? We can get Spring Beans count and Spring Bean IDs from what? IOC container. Okay, and if you want to get how many beans are there in IOC container, we can use this. Okay, wait a minute. It's a metadata about container. We can get over here. Check it out. Sys out Spring Beans count. Yeah, tell me. CTX dot get bean definition count. Sys out. Spring Bean IDs. What is there? Arrays dot to string. CTX dot. Tell me. Okay, names. Or I'm trying to print all the bean IDs. Default bean IDs also I'm trying to print. Dependency injection test, guys. Run as Java application. L time WMG. L time WMG created or not created? L time WMG is created or not created, guys? Super. Sir, you said singleton scope means IOC container creates Spring Bean class object on one per bean class and bean ID. One per bean class, I understood. Why bean ID? Okay. You will get idea when I do that work. Same class I configured as Spring Bean second time. For that class bean ID, one object. For this class bean ID, another object. For that class bean ID, one object. For this class bean ID, another object. WMG1, what is there? WMG1, wish message generator. That's good. Yeah. Here I will give different days. Okay, some 25. Here also some 20. This is a different, this is a different, right? Yes. Okay, both are singleton. But I said per class, per bean ID, one object. So total here bean IDs are different, though class is same. So it is for which separate object, for this separate object will be created or not there. Check it out. Copy this, paste it. OBJ2, OBJ22. OBJ2 dot hash code, OBJ22 dot hash. Copy this, paste it. Yeah, bean ID, WMG1, WMG1. Right click, run as Java application. See guys, first set one object, 3838. Second set one object, 6666. First set one object, 3838. Second set one object, 6666. It's really happening or not there? Say something, my dear. Come on. Got the clarity or not there, guys? Super. So like this, we can go for what? We can check. It is not per bean ID. It is per bean ID and per class. That is separate object. This is separate object. Okay. Fine. Can you say singleton scope makes Java Spring Java class as what? Singleton class? No. When should I take Spring Bean class as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean. If Spring Bean class is not having state or data, no properties declaration. If Spring Bean class is having only fixed state or date, only what? Properties declaration. If Spring Bean class is having only what? Shareable state or data, the state that can be shared across the multiple classes, like what? Class holding countries information. What guys? Class holding what? Countries information. Are you understanding my statement, my dear? Super. Okay. Countries information. Everyone understanding my statement, my dear? Come on. Singleton Java class allows us. See, what is there? Class is not having state. Class is having fixed state. Class is having shareable state. In these three situations, we can take class as what? Single. What is the difference between singleton class and singleton scope? Singleton class allows us to create only one object in any situation. That is class level restriction to create single object. What is that? That is class level restriction to create single object or not there? What's the next one, guys? Singleton scope. That is container level restriction to create single object. Per what? Per Spring Bean class and Bean ID, it will allow us to create single object or not there. Per Bean class and Bean ID, it allow us to create single object or not there. Say something, guys. Super. Okay. Singleton Java class allow us to create single object because the logic is placed inside the class. This is class level restriction. Does the singleton scope make Spring Bean class as what? Singleton Java class. No. Our Spring Bean class does not become what? Singleton Java class. But it makes the IOC container to create single object for what? Spring Bean class with respect to Bean ID. With respect to Bean ID. Without making Java class as what? Singleton Java class. We can make Spring Bean class just having only one object through what? Singleton scope of the IOC container. Note. Without taking Spring Bean class as singleton class, if you want to get what? Singleton class effect on Spring Bean, then we need to go for what? Spring Bean scope as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean are not there. Say something, guys. Okay, here you see this. For singleton scope Spring Bean, the IOC container creates what? Single object. Though Spring Bean class is what? Normal. And allows us to create what? Multiple objects directly because class is what? Normal. Normally you can create many objects, but through IOC container only one object. If someone asks you what is the difference between singleton class and singleton scope, you simply say only one statement. What is the statement, guys? Singleton class means it is what? Java class level restriction to create only one object for Spring Java class in any situation. Single scope means what? Container level restriction to create only one object for Spring Bean class. Class level no restriction, container is restriction. Does singleton scope makes Spring Bean class as singleton Java class or not? No. So without making class as singleton class, if you want to bring its effect some extent, up to some extent, then we have to take the scope as what? Singleton scope. Is that clear, my dear? What is the popular scope in Spring Bean? Single. What's the default scope? Okay. How does singleton object is reused? Singleton scope Spring Bean is reused. Though there is no, though there is no singleton class designing, by keeping that object in the internal cache of the IOC container, that reusability is started or not there. By keeping that object in what? Internal cache of the IOC container, that reusability is started or not there. Definitely that reusability is started or not there, guys. I want reply from you people, right? Super. What happens if you make the real singleton Java class as singleton scope Spring Bean? Real singleton class as singleton scope Spring Bean. Happily singleton scope will be continued or not there. Class is singleton, scope is singleton, double protection now, my dear. Yes or no, na guys? You configure one time, two time, three times, any number of times. Singleton scope will be continued or not there. That is your wrong psychological feeling. Why? Because IOC container can access private constructor to create object or not there. Come on. Suppose if we configure printer class twice, okay, the two different bean IDs. Happily it will access private constructor and creates the object or not there. That means two objects are created or not there. Yes. Then how to solve? Very simple. Don't ask IOC container to create object using constructor. Ask IOC container to create object using what? Using what? Factory method, static factory method. Inside that, anyhow, singleton logic is there, na? Then happily singleton scope will be continued or not there. Yeah, very simple, guys. The singleton scope of singleton Java class will be continued when you configure it as a Spring Bean, only when you enable what? Static factory method bean instantiation. Otherwise, by accessing private constructor, the singleton scope will be broken or not there. By accessing private constructor, there is a chance of losing the singleton scope or not there. Just a minute, what I do? I'm taking this S10, my dear, copy. I'm taking this what? S10, copied. Go to this package, say paste. This is purely interview sake. What happens if I configure real singleton Java class as singleton scope Spring Bean? Okay, now I'm going to application context.xml. I'm going to what? Application context.xml. Here is what? Bean ID. What is there? Bean ID. Yes, turn 1. Class is equal to bean ID. Okay, otherwise we'll take prn1. What is there? prn1. com.nt.sten. What is there? Printer. Printer. Same thing second time. prn2 print. No scope is given. Default scope is singleton only now, guys. Forget about all this stuff, guys. At the end, what I do is what is there? Printer P1 is equal to ctx dot get bean. Printer P1 is equal to ctx dot get bean. Tell me, guys. P1, what is there? Printer dot class. Printer P1 is equal to ctx dot get bean pre1. Printer dot class. I think bean ID is taken prn1. prn1. Printer P2 is equal to prn2 printer dot class. System dot out dot println p1 dot hash code space p2 dot hash code. prn1 prn2. Yeah, right only na. prn1 pr. Achha. Okay, got it. prn1 prn2. Okay, that's good. I just want to check whether same object is created or not. Run as Java application. Two different objects came na. That too it is accessing private constructor and creating object or not. Suppose for both times I said factory hyphen method is equal to get inst. Next, factory hyphen method is equal to get inst. Factory hyphen method is equal to get inst. Right click, run as Java application. What is there, guys? 246. We are having messages like 246 are not there. That means singleton scope is continued or not, guys? Singleton scope is definitely continued over here or not there. I hope you convinced with me, my dear. Super. 246 and what? 246. Everyone got the clarity or not there? Understood my statement or not there, guys? So this is what we need to understand. This is what we need to understand. Okay. So this is the whole mechanism that we have to focus, my dear. Okay. Yeah, see. If we configure real singleton Java class as singleton scope Spring Bean only for one time, then singleton scope will be continued. One time means no headache. Na? Class is singleton, even though it acts as constructor also no headache. If we configure real singleton Java class singleton scope for multiple time with a different bean IDs by enabling factory method bean instantiation, then singleton pattern will be continued. If we configure real singleton class as singleton scope Spring Bean for multiple time with a different ID without enabling factory method bean instantiation, then singleton scope pattern will not be continued. Check it out. In XML driven configuration, we can configure real singleton class as multiple Spring Bean with a different bean ID without enabling what? Static factory method as shown below. Yes. We cannot do same thing in what? Annotation. Or in annotation, we have to write on the top of the class or on the top of the method. How you write twice? You cannot write, right? Okay, here singleton scope will be continued or will not be continued. Here singleton pattern will be broken. Why it will be broken, guys? Because by access, it will access constructor or not there. Yeah, PRN1, PRN2. But here static factory method instantiation is enabled or not? What is enabled, guys? Factory method. Here also fact. Here singleton pattern will not be broken because we are making IOC container to go for what? To go for. We are making IOC container to go for factory method based what? Spring Bean instantiation or not? Factory method based Spring Bean instantiation are not there, guys. Super. Okay. So if we configure singleton Java class as singleton scope Spring Bean for multiple time with the different bean IDs, singleton scope will be continued. Singleton pattern will be continued only when you enable factory method bean instantiation. Otherwise, it will not continue. Why? Because IOC container is great enough to access the private constructor and to create the object using reflection API. I think you convinced with this statement, guys. Okay, this is all about what? Dealing with what? Singleton scope. If no scope is given, what's the default scope? Right. Without taking Spring Bean class code as what? Singleton Java class code. To bring the similar effect of singleton class behavior, we need to take Spring Bean scope as what? Single. Right. In real projects, we take service class where business logics are there, DAO class where persistence logic is there, controller class where monitoring logics are there. As what? Singleton scope Spring Bean because these classes contains no state or what? Fixed state or what? Shareable state. The process of keeping different logics in different layers and making them talking with each other is called what? Layered application development. In that service class contains business logic. DAO class contains what? Persistence logic. And controller class contains what? Monitor. What logics, guys? Monitoring logics. All singleton scope Spring Bean participates in what? Pre, early, or eager instantiation. That means objects will be created the moment what? Container is created, irrespective of what? Get bean is called or not, injections are happened or not, right? Only for singleton scope Spring Bean this pre-instantiation takes place. Only the objects of singleton scope Spring Beans will be kept in what? Internal cache of the IOC container are not there. Sir, how to disable this singleton scope? Pre-instantiation on singleton scope Spring Beans, guys? By taking lazy true or not there, guys? By taking lazy true, we can disable this one or not there, guys? What are the different A's to enable what? Lazy or late instantiation on what? Spring Bean. Take singleton scope Spring Bean enabled with what? Lazy true. Take Spring Bean scope as what? Other than singleton scope. Number three, make sure that Spring Bean is not dependent to what? Singleton scope Spring Bean having other than singleton scope. Lazy true, singleton also become lazy instantiated. Other than singleton scope. Okay. You take other than singleton scope, but make sure that that is not dependent to what? Target singleton scope. Why? When target is created, it looks to complete injection also. That's why a dependent also pre-instantiated and injected are not there. Lazy true. Next. Next one. Other than singleton. Right? Other than singleton. Those copies other than singleton, don't expect lazy instantiation should happen. If it is dependent to target singleton scope, target is pre-instantiated. In that process, what happened? Dependent also injected or not there. So that means dependents also indirectly pre-instantiated or not there. Come on, guys. Yeah. In XML driven configuration, we can enable lazy instantiation on singleton scope bean by using lazy init is equal to true attribute of what? Bean. In annotation, lazy true. Here what? Lazy init. Lazy init. Okay, reflection API code. How does it internally uses what? Private constructor to create object. Other day I have given it or not there. Most important one is set accessible true. This is most important one line or not. Most important line is what? Set accessible true. Yeah, this will give access to private constructor. Other day we discussed this one thoroughly now, my dear. Yes, that's good. Yes. Yeah, where is this? Google Drive. I think you got perfect knowledge on singleton scope and singleton's the Java class. Yeah, what's your batch code? 2509 or 1212? 2212, right. Spring Core, file upload. What's the batch code, guys? What's the batch code? Here is what? Spring Core. The session 20. Only singleton scope we completed, guys. We have other scopes to discuss. Common videos. I hope you watched a few common videos, guys. Already in vacation, I have given few videos. Today, let me give more videos. Here is my what? Design patterns. Copy this. Come to these guys. Yeah, 7 videos are there. You try to watch all the 7. Right. Thank you, guys. Have a nice time. We'll meet tomorrow.